Hello and welcome to the 8th section, creating a line and an area chart. In this section, we will learn how to add axes in a chart, refine the outcome of your SVG shapes, and create an element and an area chart. In this video, we are going to be about the x-axis. We are going to continue from where we finished in the 7th section. So we did create a scatter plot, but we are missing something. Do you notice what we are missing? Well, we're missing the axis. D3 provides an easy way to add the axis so you don't have to think or calculate the distances for the line ticks. The way you create an axis is similar to everything else in D3. You chain a few methods and you pass in the data. The axis is an SVG and it will be created by D3. You have 4 functions to use: axis top, axis bottom, which are for the horizontal axis or the x-axis, and axis left and axis right, which are for the vertical axis or the y-axis. Before we continue with the code, let's just go through the documentation and then we are ready to start coding. You can find the documentation in github.com/d3/d3-axis. Okay, and now we are ready to continue coding. Since we are in the 8th section, I changed this to 8 and then I added a comment to create axis. Alright, now I'm going to minimize the create circles and the create labels. I will add a few lines just to be more clear, and then I'm going to add a new variable which is going to be the x-axis, and it will store a function d3.axisBottom. Inside there, I'm going to have the scale that we created in a previous video. I'm only going to need the x scale for now. Then I'm going to have the svg.append, the G method, and the G is for grouping. So it's a way to store elements together. Then, only with these few steps, our axis is created. So save, go back to your browser and refresh your website. So here it is. Yes, maybe there are some problems, but we are going to tackle them a little bit later. For now, I just want you to go to the Element tab and try to find your SVG element or the axis. If you find it, you will see that there are some elements created inside there. These elements aren't coded by us. They are actually coded by D3, and that's the beautiful thing. Alright, now I think it's time to start solving our problems. The first one that we are going to solve is to have the labels for the circle. So please just go back to your text editor. Alright, I'm going to open the create labels, and there are a couple of ways to fix this problem, but I do the one that I find easier, which is just calling the append with G or group method. Alright, just like that, this is done. The next thing that I'm going to do is to move the axis from top to bottom. And this is also pretty easy. You just have to use some CSS class and properties. So the first thing is adding an attribute, and this attribute is going to have the class and also is going to have the x-axis class. Now the next thing is going to be with the transform and translate property. These properties are not about D3, it's only about CSS. The translate function moves an element according to x and y coordinate. So here I'm going to have the translate 0 and then bar chart height minus the padding. We are going to change the padding in a little bit. Alright, so we are done with this. Let's continue with style CSS. So I want to make the axis a bit bigger. You will need to select the x-axis path and the x-line. So let's just write our classes. The first one is going to be x-axis and path, and the other one is going to be x-axis and line. Here I'm going to add the property crease edges, and this will make the lines crisp and clear, which is what I need. The last thing that I'm going to do is to have the x-axis text with font family of sans serif. I will add some font weight, maybe bold or even bolder, and last but not least I'm going to have the font size increased to 14 pixels. Alright, let's just save, go back to our browser and refresh the website. Alright, here you will notice that we have a problem with the padding, but that's totally fine and it's something pretty easy. I'm going back to app.js and I'm going to change the padding to maybe 20 and this 20 pixels. So because we didn't have any padding, that's why we had this problem. But now we add the padding, we refresh the website and everything is working out fine. Alright, and that is our x-axis. In the next video, I'm going to show you some more ways to style the axis as well as add the y-axis. So far, we created the scatter plot and we added the axis,